Ron, you've been so busy with everything, recruiting, everything else, getting ready for this game. Has it sunk in you're going to be the head coach of Ohio State?
Every day, a little bit more. Yeah, like you said, a lot going on. The first thing on the list was recruiting, and obviously that went really, really well, and now it's getting ready for this bowl game. But every day, a little bit more.
Ryan, we asked you a bunch of times already about what you'll do when you take charge of the staff and all that stuff. I know you don't have answers to that until after the game. But
Sure.
You have to have been managing some of that stuff to take over. What has that been like to juggle both jobs, I guess, if that's how you view it, over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think that obviously you rely on your staff and kind of the guys that you have and the personalities you have on your staff, and you work through it. And that's going to be something that's ever evolving as we go. And then once the bowl game gets over, we'll go through and figure out exactly where those are going to be moving forward.
Has that been, tough to manage at all? Urban wants to be in charge for his last game, right? You want to play for the future. Has there been any, you have to manage that, walk that line?
Not at all. No, not at all. It's actually been even smoother than I thought it would be.
Really?
Yeah, it's been really good, and things have been kind of business as usual. And then on the second, it kind of goes from there.
Ryan, do you know whether or not you're going to call plays next year?
It's something we're still going to work through and figure that out. But I still want to have a heavy hand in the offense. I think that the guys on offense, are really excited, and there's a lot of energy and positive momentum on our side of the ball. So I want to keep that going.
How does that go for a guy who's been a play caller, and there have been head coaches who try to take that on and others who don't? Just who have you relied on as you're trying to make that decision, and what factors might go into deciding whether or not you're going to call plays next year?
Yeah, I mean, you look at different models that people have used over the years, and a lot of it has to do with as we move forward, kind of the positions some of the coaches take on and the responsibilities as we go. But I think that there are a lot of models out there that work. Obviously at Oklahoma and Notre Dame, and obviously I use Chip Kelly as a guy that I go to a lot. He's made it work that way. So all conversations we had moving forward.
Any new coaches you might have, I know you can't rush to put your new staff together. It's so important, but you also don't have like a long timeline. It just
Sure.
Can you discuss walking that balance of finding the right guys, but you also can't take too long to find them?
Yeah, but again, right now it's all about winning this game. It's on us right now. That's where the focus is.
Brian, there's been when you look at this game, Washington looks like one of the better secondaries maybe you faced this year. When you prepare for them, what do you see? What's the challenge they pose?
Well, they have a great scheme. They're very, very well coached. Jimmy Lake does a great job, and the whole staff does a great job. They play very hard. They're powerful up front. They don't give up a lot of big plays. Their secondary does a great job of keeping things in front of them. They break on the ball really well, and opportunistic, obviously in turnovers. And so they make you work the thing down the field. They're not going to give you big plays. So we're going to have to do a good job there, stay on schedule, and then do a good job in situational football.
Has it been about Dwayne that he seems to take his game to another level against the better defenses you face? What is it about him that allows him to thrive in those situations?
I go back to it all the time. I just think that what our offensive line has done to get him into a rhythm in these games is remarkable. You look at some of those games, he's actually untouched at times, which is when he can set his feet in the pocket and throw the ball, that's when he's at his best. And so much of it goes back to what those guys have done protecting for him. And then also the guys on the perimeter, creating space and winning their one-on-one matchups so he doesn't have to hang on to the ball, and the ball gets out of his hands on time. And so the rhythm of our passing game is critical.
Joshua Olabi looks like he's been taking some of the first-team reps at left tackle. How's he looking to step in there for Thayer, and is there a chance Thayer will play in the game?
So Josh, stepped in and played some games for us this year, and he's done a good job. And so we have a lot of faith in Josh. It looks like Thayer probably will be a game-time decision there. But we have confidence in both guys.
What is Thayer's injury?
It's undisclosed right now.
Ryan, Urban said earlier this week that it's been like a year that he's kind of scouted him to see if you can be his potential replacement.
Sure.
Now that it's kind of happened, he says he feels more comfortable handing it off to you. Why are you ready for this job?
Well, for a lot of reasons. It's something I've been working for my whole career. I've been exposed to some great coaches along the way, and exposed to some high level of coaching, and going to use something from each of those coaches that we're going to build our culture that way and my philosophy. But that being said, I've been in the program now for a couple of years. I had an opportunity to walk in the footsteps of the head coach here at Ohio State, understand what that is, and want to keep the infrastructure here. And my philosophy and values are so much in line with what's here right now, and want to keep that culture going and the infrastructure going that's here right now.
Since Urban made the announcement, how has he been? Players have said he seems a little bit more relaxed. He wasn't the total helicopter coach earlier in practice. He's kind of getting back to that now, but how is he?
He's been great. I can't say enough about what he's been like for me. Just moving forward, you know, as we go and try to, you know, blaze a new path here. Talking to me just about all the different things that he's gone through, the experiences that he's had, obviously at Ohio State, but just as a coach, what to look for as a head coach and how to put things together moving forward.
Does it seem more relaxed though? Does it seem like the weight is lifted?
I don't know. I mean, I know that obviously winning the Big Ten championship, beating our rival was big, and so anytime that happens, you know, you smile a little bit more, and that's pretty natural. But I do think that he's in a great place.
I assume you're not going to be working as closely with the quarterback. What are you going to miss? What do you really like about that interaction?
I'm still going to be involved with the quarterbacks a good amount. Yeah. I obviously won't have as much time as I've had in the past, and I do love that. Having a feel for the quarterbacks in terms of what they've seen, what they've practiced, what they know, what they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis, kind of keeps you in tune with the offense, because the offense goes as the quarterback goes. But I'm going to do a really good job of making sure that I am in those meetings, that I am a part of it, and that I do have a good feel for what the quarterback's experiencing.
You've got some uncertainty coming at quarterback, perhaps. It's almost like going back a year. What are you looking forward to? What's the challenge of bringing a new guy along?
Yeah, it's something I'm going to kind of think about after the game and you know, reflect on what that's going to be. But you know, we just got to win this game, and then we'll go from there.
Your philosophy of being head coach and still working closely with quarterbacks, it sounds a lot like what Jim Tressel did. Do you have a relationship with Coach Tressel at all? I'm sure you guys eventually will.
We've met and spoken a few times, but other than that, not really.
Brian, how was the coaching dynamic yesterday in practice? Was it any different, you know, knowing that in less than a week you're going to be stepping into those shoes?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't been different at all. It's been really smooth. Like I said earlier, I think that you know, it's been kind of, there's a great relationship there between Coach and I. And you know, he's kind of handing this thing off to me as we go, and but things have been business as usual, and we'll continue that way through the game.
Did you feel yourself being any more vocal than normal, or pretty much the same?
No, and I think that's what the guys appreciate about me, is that I am who I am, and that I'm not going to try to do or try to be Urban Meyer. I'm not going to try to be, you know, some other coach. I'm just going to be myself, and I think that's what they experienced in their first, you know, 3 games this season.
Hey Ryan, on your signing day press conference, you mentioned that all staff and decisions you do or make about your staff will be done after the game. I find it kind of interesting too that you're going through bowl practice, you're in the side chair for the last time. Do you have to analyze? Are you rating? Are you paying attention to what these other assistants that are side by side with you are now doing during this week? Do you have to evaluate those things? And how do you be the head coach before you're the head coach?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that you have to stay focused on right now in the moment. I think that's kind of been the theme all season from August to now, is that you focus on what's going on right now, and then you go from there. I do think that you have to make sure you're forecasting a little bit where you're headed. So staying focused on the game right now, and then once that happens, kind of go from there.
Do people treat you differently? Everyday players?
No, I don't think so. Again, why? And I think the reason is because during the preseason in those first 3 games, I'd already kind of walked in those shoes a little bit. So it isn't a big jump or a big, you know, difference in terms of how the guys look at me.
What about people outside of the team? Are they treating you differently than?
Yeah, that's a little different. That's a little different. Yep. Life has changed as we know it, and but that's why, again, that's why you put a whistle around your neck, is to be in this situation. So.
What makes you such a good quarterback coach? Do you have to brag on yourself?
Yeah, I hate to talk about myself like that, but I will say this: I played the position. I was coached by a great quarterbacks coach when I played. But then a few years ago, I had to make a decision, kind of where my career was going, and I made a hard decision to go coach in the NFL and focus all my time on quarterback play in the pro passing game. And I thought that would differentiate myself in the coaching profession. I spent 2 years doing that. I traveled around the country, meeting with different quarterback coaches. I spent all my time, because in the NFL you don't have to really worry about recruiting or anything else. And I just studied the Patriots and the Packers and the Saints, the passing game, and that's what I did for 2 years. And I felt that gave me a little bit of an edge in coaching.
How important is that relationship, head coach, quarterback? Maybe the most in sports in some ways, people say. Is that accurate? You've got to be on the same page?
Yeah, I think anytime you have a quarterback who is a player coach, that's when you're at your best. And I think that it's the coaches, it's the quarterback, and kind of everybody else. And if you have that mentality as a quarterback that you are a coach, that you are looking out, there's more responsibility, then you're almost part of the staff. And so I think that relationship is important.
Ryan, speaking of the quarterback-coach relationship, you helped personally develop Dwayne. Now he's obviously has a decision to make, and depending on what that decision is, it's going to impact who your quarterback is. With everything that happened in Oregon and Justin Herbert returning, him being considered by most analysts the #1 quarterback in the draft, how do you have those discussions with him in terms of what's best for his future, while also balancing the fact that your success in the beginning of your career could be determined by who your quarterback is? It's
Sure.
kind of a tough position you might be in.
It is, and we've had a few discussions about it. We said that we were going to get through this game and go win the Rose Bowl, and then have a little bit further discussions there. But there's a lot involved with it. Obviously, he has his family that he trusts and loves, and some other people that he'll go to for advice. But we want what's best for Dwayne, and as a coach, you want to make sure you're doing that. You know, this is not self-serving in any way where you know, you start talking somebody into coming back just because it's self-serving for the program or for me. That being said, we obviously going to present all the reasons why it'd be great for him to come back.
Is Dwayne ready for the NFL right now?
That's a good question. I think, again, after the season, you know, you reflect on, you know, the whole season, where it's at, how far he's come. I do think that he has a chance to be really successful in the NFL. When and how and the situation, obviously, is something that we have to look at after the Rose Bowl. But when you look at what he's done this season, it's been very, very impressive.
His skill set more kind of a drop back guy. I mean, he can run. That's
Right.
kind of his mantra. Is that kind of the philosophy going forward as far as recruiting quarterbacks, like style of Randy?
We want to recruit a quarterback who has some sort of extraordinary trait, and then we feel like, I've mentioned this before in a few of our press conferences, we feel we can tailor our offense to the quarterback's strengths.
We saw Chip Kelly in practice the other day. Any highlights from having a chance to talk to Chip in person?
Other than seeing him and spending time with him, and he and his wife and my wife, no, I think that it's always good to be around, you know, one of your mentors and spend time and talk through things. And again, you know, obviously, you know, Urban's a huge part of this thing for me moving forward as a mentor, and then Chip's like the second, you know, where you go to them for advice. They've been in this thing before. They've been a head coach, and the thing that I just keeps coming back to me is just be yourself, trust your instinct, because you're built for this.
When Kevin Wilson came in, he was sort of the guru, pegged as the offensive guru, and you've kind of elevated in that relationship. How has that gone? How has that worked out? I assume you guys have worked very closely together, and where may that head?
All the guys on offense, great relationship there. It's a group effort, and Kevin is as good as anybody. You know, he's been doing it for a long, long time. Has a great history of really explosive offenses, and have a huge hand in everything we're doing on a day-to-day basis. Does a great job with our run game, great job with organizing day-to-day operations, and so nothing but unbelievable things to say about Kevin, and work with him for 2 years.
Ryan, when you made the decision to go to the NFL with Chip,
Yep.
Were you calling plays before you made that move, before you moved to the NFL?
When I was at Boston College, yeah, I was the offensive coordinator.
How difficult was it to go from the guy calling plays to sort of taking a backseat to a guy like Chip who was going to...
Well, that was part of the decision, was like, okay, how am I going to differentiate myself in this profession? And then making that move was part of that decision, and knowing that you weren't going to call the plays. But the good news was in the relationship that I had with Chip, I had a lot going on there. He and I were constantly talking during the games, and so I felt there was some value there as well.
We really saw Chris Olave come on toward the end of the year. Is there any other young wide receivers that might not play that much on Tuesday, but you feel are really coming on for you guys?
Yeah, I think, you know, those guys have a bright future. They still have to grow this spring. You know, Blue Smith and Jalen Gill, Elijah Gardner, Jalen Harris. Those are all guys that are going to be the future of our program at wideout. And so the spring is going to be important for those guys to keep growing.